So that's interesting because I think a lot of people that are signed are going to feel like that's where their work stops in terms of them having a search. So can you dispel that myth? Suppose someone's signed by one of the bigger agencies and they feel like, okay, now I've arrived, but really not.
The interesting thing is that most writers who get repped, right, even in the bigger, on the kind of bigger landscape with the bigger agencies, CAA, WME, UTA, ICM, if they truly stop and ask their agent and manager or their agent, so are you going to get me a job? Most of them are going to tell them, getting you your first job is not my responsibility. That is the truth of the matter. So writers have to continue to network to get themselves out there. So, for example, I had a writer who won the UCLA contest on both the feature or the original TV pilot and spec front, as you do. Got a manager through that, then went on and got into 2 fellowships in 1 year, got a manager and an agent, ultimately got her job through her fellowship, but her management was instrumental in introducing her to her showrunner, who then paid for her out of pocket, which is pretty non-standard when it comes to the writing programs that are supposed to subsidize some of these staff writer roles. So I find that when writers get repped, especially with a manager, but it's also true with an agent, there's always ongoing work, whether it's networking, whether it's doing showrunner meetings, not getting the job, and then getting the gift that is the freelance script on a TV season. So there's a lot of work to be done by the writer. It's rarely just sit on your hands. I have a writer who was in a showrunner meeting today. I don't know how it went yet. Who is always out there, who's always networking, who is at every event, who is on a board with the WGA, who's on a board with the PGA, who is just always out there working for himself and getting himself out there. And yes, his agents at WME are carrying part of the load, but he is doing a fair share of the work. Now, the important thing to remember is that your agents and your managers, they're collecting 10%. Getting a writer his first job is not 10% of the work. It's going to take a lot more than that. Because of that, writers have to always be vigilant about getting out there and working their contacts and communicating with their people and getting to know showrunners and doing everything that they can, if not to get the job, then to inspire their reps to work even harder for them.
Okay, so now I'm repped. Now what? Where does the real work begin?
Now the pressure's on. Now the real pressure is on. Because ultimately, you got repped on a script, you got repped on a contest win or a fellowship placement. Now it's about continuing to impress your rep. It's no longer about the one script that will get you that one person's attention. Now it's about staying front of mind for your rep. So it's continuing to generate work, not taking too much time between scripts, but making sure the scripts are up to standards. It's about continuing to network, calling into your agent's office and saying, I just met with yada yada, can you send them the script? It's about, I have a writer who just got signed, 2 months ago. And she's a master networker. She is constantly out there meeting with people and calling her manager and saying, I just met with this person who wants me to work on that idea. Please pick it up and run with it. So it's working even harder, working with a greater sensitivity to your manager, your agent's sensibilities, what they will or won't get out there. It's about showing them your hunger, not in words, but in actions. It's about managing your communication. It's about understanding that until you've begun to work, they're working for you for free. So you better be nice about it. It's really not the time to puff up your chest. But really respecting the relationship and respecting what they're doing for you, oftentimes for free, for a long period of time, while continuing to impress them. You want them to continue to bet on you. And for that, you have to hit the bullseye every time. So the writing has to be that much stronger. You have to deliver. You have to be great in meetings. They have to get calls from their friends, the executives, saying, April was just in here. Oh my God, I loved her. She is so great. I want to develop something with her. Keep me in mind for her next script. You have to impress. You have to impress at every turn. And, oftentimes most writers, by the time they get picked up for representation, have the capacity to do that because they've interfaced with enough writers. They've met the industry. They've worked on their personal story. They want to be collaborative. They want that push, and they understand that this is a hard industry to crack, but once you do, it's really great. It's really fun. And so they're willing to put in the work. But the work only gets more demanding. I don't know that harder is the right word, but more demanding as you go along, as you get an agent, as you get a manager, as you meet executives, as you impress executives, as you build your fan base that wants to read the next thing and the next thing. You always have to get better. You have to get stronger.